So what we want to do today is really help those of you who are still running into your electric fences, who are still feeling like there's this tweak that I need to be able to do that. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask Rennie to give you a little bit of the introduction of, what this electric fence is, where it came from, why you created it, and then we're going to go into what you can do about it, how to dissolve it. And then we're going to open it up to your questions, and we are here to coach you. So I ask that you become active, and there's several ways. I'm just going to give it to you right now, and then I'll repeat it. So you can either ask a question by raising your hand. I mean, that would be the funnest for us to actually be able to see you. If you raise your hand, I will bring you in as an attendee, and that way, as a panelist, and that way we can see you on video. That would be our preference. We love that. But the second way is you can type in your questions in the Q&A area. Well, those are the two ways. There's also a chat function, but use that more to, make commentaries and stuff. But if you actually want a question answered, go Q&A. But as I said, our preferences come on video. So Rennie, would you please take some? Ooh, that was very formal, wasn't it, darling? Yeah, would you please?
So, lots of people have, well, that was pretty inspiring what Kirsten just said. Lots of people, though, have been inspiring about the issue. And we have tools. We do. We have practices. We have thousands of practices to basically deal with this. But suddenly, they're just an advance. Let's just say the universe is looking out for the human race at this critical time. Information is pouring into the planet on that is just new. It just really is. It's not complicated. It's not impossible to grasp. But at the same time, there's a little bit of a tendency, at least this was true for me, was, I spent 20 years as a spiritual seeker. And so as I hear this new information, I say, oh, I know all about that. I mean, oh yeah, that's completely familiar, and that it was my own learning that actually kind of got in the way, to be honest with you, because this approach is just real simple. Here, let's just do it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like that, But if you basically go 1, 3, 2, 5 or something like that, you start coloring it and you don't get the same effect. So let's just talk about the electric fence. What is it really? It really is a series of psychological identities that over eons we have created for ourselves. Now, there's whole fields of knowledge that have labeled these identities egos. Some, of course, are positive. Many of them are negative. The one that Kirsten is describing is a sabotage ego. A lot of people think they just have one ego, and it looks that way. It looks like one package. I mean, someone triggers you and you get angry. And so now you're just furious, and your blood is boiling, and you've got a chemical thing happening from your adrenal glands, and what we do to ourselves when we get angry is so amazing, really. So, but then we calm down and we kind of come back to a bit of a calm-centered, and it looks like it's just all one transition, but it's not. Calm-centered is one identity. Anger is another identity. Sabotage ego is another identity. Ronnie Righteous and Goody Two-Shoe, that's another one. Okay, the victim mindset, if one thing doesn't get me, something else will. Okay, that's another whole identity. There's thousands of these identities. So now where are they? Where are they located exactly? And so we have no idea where they're located. I mean, so psychology will come on, well, they're in the, maybe they're in the subconscious. No, I don't know if they're subconscious. Maybe it's the unconscious. Well, they're one of them.
Somewhere there.
So an identity is actually a protein material that's emanating from our own thoughts. It's actually, many of them are born in fear, and they basically, represent a moment in our life when something happened and we created a response to a moment. It seemed appropriate at the time, but they never go away. They just sit there, and they really are lodged in the subconscious mind. That's where they're lodged. So therefore, they're hard to see. They're not impossible to see, but they hide just below the surface. It's very hard to find your egos, quite honestly. So here is one of the most profound concepts in the world. Someone triggers you. I mean, someone really ticks you off, and they really do deserve it. They really are a jerk. Everybody can see that, you know. This is you just getting all fumed up about the person triggering you. And basically, what you're doing in reacting to them is you're actually strengthening the ego that drew them to you. So it turns out, here is the great mystery of our time. Everything that you're experiencing, everything that's coming in front of you has its origin in those 50 or 60,000 thoughts that cross your own brain every day. Okay, it's your own thoughts and perceptions that are drawing these experiences to you. How you see the world is how you actually experience the world. Whatever you fear, that's what you're going to experience. Whatever you fear is what you attract. And here's the challenging part: whatever you condemn, that's what you're going to experience. The whole place is a psychological construct whose origin is yourself. And so here's the secret formula for the electric fence. Someone comes in front of you, or anything comes in front of you, and you have a reaction. Okay, there's something stirring you. It can be subtle or it can be extreme, but something has caused a reaction. That's the moment of your golden opportunity. Rather than jump into the reaction, that's what we all do, okay? Instead, you just sort of step aside and look at yourself having a reaction, because now you know that behind every reaction is hiding an ego. Every single time you have a reaction, think about it. It's in yourself. Any reaction you have is in yourself, and there's always an ego pulling your strings behind every reaction you have. So here comes a person triggering you, and it's like, thank you for showing me a window into myself. Because now if you don't just react, but see the reaction rather than be the reaction, see it. Now you have control over it. Now you can see the ego behind it. Oh, there's Ronnie Righteous. Oh, there's my victim ego. Oh, there's my poor me ego. There's my sabotage ego. Oh, there's my martyr ego who's ready to die for the cause. But you're not the martyr ego. You just see it. And by seeing it, that gives you the ability to edit it. And now you can give it a new job. Now you can basically bundle it up and let it go. Your dream body is happy to take it out at night, just before you come to your closure at the end of the day. Just you take your whole bundle of negative egos you found and put them on a little boat in your mind and let your dream body just take them out to where they belong. They don't belong in you. They were all created by you. You're not upset by fear egos, all these fear egos brought you to this place. There's nothing wrong with that. But now we're taking back our life. Now we're taking control. And so this is really the simple concept. You have a reaction. Rather than be the reaction, you let yourself see the reaction. Now seeing it, now you can name it. It's an ego. Every time there's a reaction, without exception, there's an ego in you. Okay, so see it, name it, and now you can let it go. And now you're ready to step into appreciation. Now you're ready to step into your beauty. Now you really have a tool, no kidding, to keep egos from pulling your strings. And you can actually go on a journey to answer the age-old question, who am I really? Because all of these egos that are not who you are, there really is an answer to the question, who am I? And that answer is contained within your own genetic material. There's actually a design that you can uncover. We'll save that for another time. But that is really a beautiful thing to do too. Just ask your own genetics. Show me the answer to the question, who am I? Because after you checkmate all of these negative egos, it opens a pathway for you to step into the beauty and the magnificence that you've always been.
So just to, sometimes hearing it from two different people helps sink it in. Number one key to understand what Rennie just said is egos are not who you are. Yes, you created them, but it's not who you are. One of my pet peeve, I don't have a pet peeve, but it's a good way of saying it. A pet peeve expression is it's just human nature, right? We put a lot into that sentence. Somebody got angry. It's just human nature. They can't help themselves. Or they got irritated or angry or fear. It's just human nature. I'm going to call bullshit on that. Ooh, I said that word. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's not who we are. It's not human nature to be in egos. Egos were supposed to take temporary control of the personality seat and then leave again, but they became permanent fixtures. They're not who you are. They think they're in control. There's an addictive quality to them because whenever there's an emotional reaction, they trigger the chemistry of adrenaline and some other soup, but mostly adrenaline, and we are addicted to it, which is why it is so hard sometimes to get out of emotional reactions. The secondary reaction of the justificator comes in, right? The one that wants to justify why you're in that. I have a right to be angry right now. That person did something to me and I'm going to be angry, damn it. That comes in too. So it's really the addictive quality of these egos and these emotional reactions is what oftentimes keeps people stumbling on this process. But if you can just understand egos are not who you are, and with that one understanding, then I'm just going to go through the steps one more time that Rennie just said, and I want to invite you to now, get ready to come and ask your question. What is your electric fence? And let us help you move through that. So raise your hand if you want to come onto the webinar so we can answer your questions and coach you, or put it in the Q&A section. But so here is your 5 steps to dissolve the electric fence. Step number 1, notice. Yep, I'm having a reaction. I'm angry, I'm irritated, I'm judging, I am in paralysis, fear, anxiety, worry, stress, blah, blah, I am. Notice. Step number 2, and most people stop with notice. They pat themselves on the back. Yep, I'm really good at seeing myself. Yep, you are, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing, right? This is because the next step is the key. See it, don't be it. Meaning, what Rennie, how Rennie said it, step outside of yourself. And this is how I coach people. Imagine that completely neutral, unconditional part of you that absolutely sees nothing wrong and is not pulled in by any drama and trauma. Step that outside of yourself, turn around and look back at yourself and go, okay, I see the reaction. Yep, you are in a reaction, but we're not going down that rabbit hole. That is your power tool right there. If you can make that step from notice to observe and see it, you've taken the reins. That is your key, okay? Step number 3 is get to know it. I say become Sherlock Holmes with it, okay? So you're looking back at yourself and it's like a scanner, okay? All right, it's sitting in my solar plexus. Yep, I feel it in my solar plexus, in my stomach. It feels contracted. There's a kind of an acidic feeling to it, and amp it up just so you can really feel it. You're just observing, so there's nothing scary there anymore. You're just watching this happen like a movie. And yep, my throat's kind of getting tight too with this, just really get to know this thing and notice the thoughts that come with the ego, because there is a direct connection between what you think and the emotional reaction that you're having. So watch those as well in this step 3. Get to know it. Step 4, name the ego. This is part of, giving yourself the separation from it. So you just heard me call one of them the justificator, right? So have fun with this. I mean, the people we coach, they on the life principle training that we're doing, oh my God, some of the names are hilarious. Meddler on the roof for the meddling ego. Judge Judy, irritable Ida. I mean, you become really creative with this and turn it into fun. It's like you're looking this thing right in the eye. There's nothing to worry about, and you're just, you're on it. Right? And then number 5, release it with gratitude and appreciation. So you're letting it go. Put it on a spaceship, put it on a boat, whatever works for you, send it to its rightful place with appreciation and gratitude. Key. They brought you to this very moment in time. You would not be who you are without them. They supported you when you needed support. All they deserve is your gratitude. But you now are taking the reins of your life, and with just grace and graciousness, you send them off. No more. So those are your 5 steps. All right. So let's see if anybody has any questions, and would like any support with your electric fence or any other questions. So raise your hand. If you do, you should have a hand raising ability. I forget, I think it's up in your upper left-hand corner. Or if you want to just talk to us, this is completely, relaxed environment. We can do whatever we want. Jeffrey, it's so good to see you. I was hoping you would say something. All right, let me see. Let me get you. There you are. Hey, Jeffrey. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, well, I didn't really have a question. I was just going to make some comments. And I was going to allow somebody to see me for once too. But anyway, maybe you were spared. Yeah, so it's just interesting after going through our last seminar, the challenges I talked about before that I was having, and, we really got over those. I mean, they're just not issues anymore. So I was very proud of myself, moved on. And then I had another situation come up where I was, back in the fall, I got attacked by a couple guys, broke my arm, crushed my hand, been out of work since November. Anyways, being thankful through the whole thing, because I know I created the whole thing. I've been working on buying a couple of businesses for the last 2 years. I got the business plan done, and but I couldn't get the money. And I had an old friend of mine offer to help me, and so we obtained funding, or at least I got a commitment on that. Was supposed to actually close this week, and then last week they called out of the blue and said, well, we're going to be on hold for 2 or 3 more weeks, and some other very important steps, the DEC paperwork, state of New York, my LLC paper, everything has been pulled up like 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, that seems like a pattern with me. It's kind of a self-sabotage, have my expectations way up in the air, then the hopes get dashed across the rocks, so yeah. So anyway, dealing with that now. So when I saw the subject of the electric fence, I thought, wow, here we are. Here we are,
Yep.
It's very prevalent in my life. And so very thankful that we have this opportunity to look at it and acquire some tools to be able to, turn that electric fence off. So I'm just excited about that. I'm not going to go into all the details. about all the other stuff. But,
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can, help you get through some of that electric fence. So
Yeah,
you
so
want to?
one of the things for sure is that when you come to an activity that's, a dream, there's something you've envisioned, you're feeling drawn to it, and there's handshakes all around, everybody is all excited, it's all good to go. Then there's something, a blockage, you hit an electric fence.
Right.
The first thing to check yourself out with is, how are you really thinking about what is happening? So you're right, you have expectations and now you feel let down. And so that's a thought, that's a perception, and the perception makes it so. And so you start actually digging your own hole in the ground. So, we have this principle, as you know, that it's an attempt to put on a default setting every thought that we have every day. And it's a perception that works in all situations 100% of the time. It lets you always know the outcome of every project. It gives you the ability to see around corners when nobody can see anything at all. And because this is a psychological construct whose origin is yourself, you put all thoughts and all reactions to this kind of, little bit of resistance setting in here. What does it mean? Here's what it means. It means that this thing that you're experiencing, not having it just fall into place, is actually going to be better than anything that you could possibly imagine. It might be that your investor is being replaced by another investor. It might mean any number of things. Right. But what your feeling, your perception is always the same. Everything is always going to be better than anything that you could possibly imagine. And it's a challenge to do it because, the brain wants to think and the brain wants to go back to its old patterns, but those old patterns really add up quickly into a negative outlook, and you're creating yourself, So that would be the main thing I would suggest right now. Just see it as a great opportunity, and if you do have a reaction, that's another golden opportunity. Now you have a reaction, so you don't be the reaction, you just see it, name it, let it go, and that everything is going to be better than anything that you could possibly imagine. If people aren't in your situation, want to just give this a try, you can just do this for 30 days. Take 30 days and don't fake it, really feel it. Everything, no matter what it looks like, is going to be better than anything that you could possibly imagine. Get your own evidence that how you see the world really does count. And magic starts occurring again when you see everything's going to be better than you could ever imagine. So that's be my suggestion for your present situation. But quite honestly, that would be my suggestion for any situation.
Yes, and you kind of shared those concepts before, and when my investor told me last week that it was going to be delayed, my first reaction was, but what I did? I immediately told it. I said, you know what? This is going to be turn out to be better than I could ever imagine. There's a reason for this, and again, I could have another investor pop in. I've already talked to other investors. Maybe I needed this time to grow some more. Who knows? But it's just going to be better than I could ever imagine. So I automatically went to that, and every time I think about the situation, I just keep telling myself that and staying upbeat. So
I just, one of my favorite things to do as a coach is to reflect back to people the incredible change and transmutation that they go through, from when we first meet you to when now. And, I haven't talked to you in about not quite a year, right? But when I'm thinking back when you first came into the first training that we did and who you were then And listening to you right now is absolutely stunning. Yes, your life may not be feeling like it's unfolding yet in the way you want, but you've started embodying that principle so incredibly well. You've started embodying this better than you could ever imagine in such an amazing way that I can tell you are so much more calm, you are so much more open, you are so much more trusting that it will be better than you could ever imagine. And listening to your story, I mean, you had this problem, but you immediately dug yourself out and something else opened up. So oftentimes when, quote unquote, the external circumstances don't seem to be looking like better than you could ever imagine, right? Sometimes we have an experience and like, oh my God, how possibly could this be better than you could ever imagine? That's where hindsight comes in really, really well, because oftentimes we go, a few months out and then we look back and going, hot damn, if that hadn't happened, then this wouldn't have happened, right? So we have the benefit of being able to evaluate how the magic that was unfolding when we have hindsight. Our practice with this number one principle is to be in complete, utter knowingness with every fiber of your being that no matter the external circumstances, everything that comes in front of you is better than you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to do a little coach tweaking right now. If you remember, the principle is better than you could ever imagine. And the idea there is, it's when you say, and you can try this with yourself. When you say better than I could ever imagine, the energetic comes back to you. It's a fairly small bubble that gets created. Or it's like the way I experienced the first time I did this was like a boomerang effect. It just came right back. When you say better than you could ever imagine, what you're holding in mind is the vastness and the brilliance of all of the universes. I mean, as far as you can possibly imagine the intelligence out there. And it's that which is you are stating that whatever's in front of you is better than you. All of you who are so brilliant and intelligent, it's still better than you could ever imagine. And energetically, that does not have a boomerang effect. That just sends it out into the universe. And it's like, and the ripple effects from that can be absolutely incredible. So I'm going to invite you to say better than you could ever imagine, even if it's something that you assessed. Does that make sense? Oh, you disappeared again. Jeffrey?
Oops.
Jeff?
Yeah, are you there?
Oh yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh, I don't know. It got interrupted there for a second. I don't know what happened. Yeah. So yeah, I'm totally picking up what you're laying down. I started embodying that. And another thing that I started doing too is, back when I was in your other seminar, I was constantly posting, all the ills of the police department, the courts, everything that I was, experiencing. And I was just letting the whole world know that. And I was listening to another coach one day, and he just simply said, whatever you're putting out there, you're drawing back. And I'm like, holy crap. Yep. I stopped doing that. I stopped posting that stuff. I put puppies and kittens. And,
so is your apartment full of puppies and kittens now? Since that's what you put out?
Yeah, positive thoughts or positive, things that I'm learning, concepts, so yeah. And I stopped thinking about all that stuff, and I just, have a little mantra everywhere I walk every day, that, money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously. I just walk out and say, I have the money. I have the money to purchase my businesses and to profitably operate them every day. And wherever I walk, that's all I say. I don't think about the court stuff from the past or how I got injured by these guys. I don't even think about any of that stuff. Let me tell you what, the first day I did that, that's when the guy came to me and said, hey, I can get money for you. For the business.
Nice.
Within less than 24 hours.
Yeah. So this is, you probably are doing this, but for everybody else who's on this call listening to this, the thing that I want to say about mantras is I think that's why when, you know, the whole law of attraction, The Secret, all of that stuff started coming into our awareness and people were starting to do that and things didn't actually go the way they were mantraing about, and
Right.
people started getting pissed off about that and, oh, this doesn't work and all that. The thing to always keep in mind is when you're saying it, do you actually feel it with every fiber of your being? Mantras mean absolutely nothing unless you actually believe them. And unfortunately, here's the bad news about that, is we have a subconscious and we have an unconscious and we have all kinds of other forces that are, you know, voices at the table, let's put it that way. And you know, unless you start understanding what those voices are and quiet them down and send them into your archive and, you know, really start taking back the fullness of who you are, mantras mean absolutely nothing.
I agree. Yes. That is, and other, you know, coaches, good coaches will all attest to that. And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So anyway,
Cool.
yeah. So, you know, but here's the thing. And maybe the reason the little holdup is going on, because I could actually feel a little bit of resistance as I was getting closer to the closing date. My mind kept saying, this ain't going to happen. And I would, you know, do everything I could to knock it out, but it'd still be there. You know, it would want to pop up. And I was constantly, you know, fighting it away. So
that's your electric fence.
Yep,
there it is.
Exactly. And I know that. And
yeah.
So we can do the, like you were saying, notice what it is, identify it, and then I can put it in, and let at night, I can let the dream body take it away.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
good. It's so wonderful to talk to you, Jeff. It's nice to hear your voice. So
thank you for your letting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So while, you know, so whoever else wants to jump on, please do so. And I want to ask Rennie, while we're waiting for the next person to come on, speak a little bit to what I just brought up, the you know, why is there a subconscious mind? Why is there an unconscious mind? And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, the mind is the great discovery facing, you know, the new humanity. We are a species that has artificial intelligence located in the skull that basically will comment on anything in which we show any interest or any awakeness. You know, we're just awake to something. The brain will come in and start chattering away, you know. And so, but those of you on a spiritual path, you know, have already discovered there's from time to time something called knowingness. And sometimes you listen and sometimes you don't, but it's a beautiful thing. It's an insight into a situation that is not capable from the brain. It comes from the mind. The brain is located in the skull. The mind is located in an electrical field that comes off of the body's skin organ. And so it's the mind that we're interested in, which can only be accessed by quieting the brain. Eventually, we can get to the place where we have knowingness about anything in which we're curious. And the knowingness is not just like a little hunch or a one-liner. It's, you know, it's this detailed, comprehensive understanding of all the factors involved. It's just a truly breathtaking situation. So the mind is the great treasure that awaits the human race. And so to intelligent beings in the universe, the idea that we've taken our mind and fractured it is just, it is a bit of a joke in the universe. Like, yeah, they have a mind, but they fractured it. They divided into the conscious mind. They have another part called the subconscious, which those are things they hide from themselves, but they're just below the surface. They could look at them if they wanted to. And then there's the unconscious mind, which is, no, I will never look at this again. I mean, it's like you basically, have taken something that you just absolutely refuse to ever consider again, and put it into a titanium safe and lock it up, and then take the key and throw it into one of the 7 oceans. It's like that. And never go in there. No, So here we are with this incredible treasure that we fractured. And so, what we do, we walk around thinking, well, the conscious mind is the whole thing, but it's so far down the totem pole in terms of what's affecting our life, Jeffrey's situation, running into some, angry people that, pushed him around and gave him some physical altercations, I mean, where's that really coming from, really? Clearly, he's not doing that at a conscious level, but at a unconscious level, it absolutely can be there. And so how do we take control of our mind? How do we stop the fracture? Turns out it's really easy. It's not hard at all. It is a sea change in everything, which is anything that comes in front of you, that you created it. And you get over this idea that anybody's doing anything to you. Oh yeah, she did it. My ex, that's the big problem. Trump. All my miseries are from, he did it, the government did it, the conspiracy that's around every corner, it's just like it's one thing after another. We're constantly pointing the finger, and every time we point the finger and blame, we reinforce the fracture of our own mind. And so if we want to heal the mind, which would be one of the greatest gifts that we could possibly give to ourselves, it would be to realize that everything that comes in front of me, I've created that. I may not know why, and I'm not upset. I'm not judging it. I just know that I created it, and I accept it as my creation. And in that simple tool, you can heal the fracture of your mind, and you can put this mysterious unknown world that's constantly pulling your strings with ways you can't even imagine, and put it all back together again. So there you have it.
So is there any place in your life right now where you still feel like somebody's doing something to you? Your boss is a jerk and they're making you do this and that. Are you feeling like a victim there? Is your spouse doing something to you? They always do something to you, don't they? Right?
Yeah.
Where in your life do you feel like a victim, where you haven't fully grasped the physics of this reality, which is nobody can do anything to you? And, I know the implications of that when you take it to, history and world events and, the really awful things that happened. That can be a little bit of a challenge to grasp. It's beyond the scope of this call today to really go into those details, but in our trainings we go into them in really, really nth depth, to really root out and unravel these gestalts, these belief systems of what we're tied into. And really, one of the things that also happened with the whole law of attraction, you create your own reality movement, when it happened, the place where people took that was, well, then it's all your fault, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're sick, if you're, alone and lonely, if you have no money, it's all your own damn fault. And that is not the right pathway to take. That keeps it in the myopicness of this life. But when you actually understand that we are a species on an evolutionary journey to wake up to who we are, and that we make life choices in service of that journey. Everything that we decide to do is to help us wake up. And sometimes it's like shock therapy, right? We give ourselves shock therapy in lifetimes in order to help us maybe make that extra flutter of the eyes so we can wake up just a little bit more. When we can see the absolute brilliance of our choices, it's absolutely amazing. Let me tell you a little story. Again, this weekend, I was sitting at lunch with a gal whose mother died of cancer. And then she was a fitness guru, this woman I was talking to. In fact, she was voted by some magazine the fittest woman in the world. Go figure. I mean, I don't know how you get to that place, but she was voted the fittest woman in the world. And at age 36, she got a call, "You have cancer." Now, how do you think she reacted to that? Is like, how the hell can I, fittest woman in the world, know what to eat, know how to take care of myself? How on earth can I get cancer? And here she is, my guess is about 20 years later. She is cancer-free. But what that did is it took her on this absolutely amazing journey to figure out how to heal yourself and what the keys to healing yourself are, which is, yes, nutrition, yes, exercise, yes, all the external things you can do, but really that the key to healing lies within. And that was the journey she went on. And I guarantee you that was the shock she chose to give herself so she could go on that journey in this lifetime. How amazingly brilliant is that? We keep looking at the myopic suffering, and I'm sure she suffered and there was pain and all of that, but look where she is right now. Look at the amazing learning she's been able to do. And this applies to every single one of us. It applies to the homeless person on the street who is addicted to opioids. Those are life choices we make to help ourselves wake up. And so we get to see each other in that light, in that brilliance of those life choices and go, I tip my hat to you. That was amazingly creative. That was an amazingly creative life plan for you to choose so that you could help yourself wake up. And the final thought complete on that is it's absolute empowerment. It's not, it's all your fault. It's all your brilliant, empowered choice, 100% choice that you made in this lifetime to help yourself become who you are meant to be. Now, how cool is that? And how wonderful of a perceptual shift is that?
Okay, you talked long enough.
Okay.
Because they hear the fire engines are coming.
So who would like to hop on the seat here and have just a conversation with us? We'd love to talk to you. What's your electric fence? What are you still feeling like you're victim in? What is it that is holding you back from living your life the way you know you came here to live? I mean, we can keep talking forever, but this is a coach-a-thon, so we want to talk to you. So raise your hand or come on the Q&A. Nobody wants to talk to us.
I know.
Why don't they want to talk to us?
The fire engines are coming, but
I know.
We find it quiet, but no. Okay, we can talk some more.
Oh, Jeffrey. Jeffrey is coming back. Okay. Go ahead, Jeffrey. Nope.
Yo. It asked me to unmute it, so I unmuted.
Yep.
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, nobody else wants to talk, but I just want to fill in a couple gaps, if you don't mind then. So, like I say, I was working on the issue of, not blaming the police officers and all that stuff. We went through all that, and I was over that. I was really doing good. Then I had the attack, but I took those lessons from before, and again, I realized from the seminar I created that too, on a subconscious level. So I have not blamed those guys. I have no ill feelings towards them. If I think about them, I just try to send positive thoughts and hope that, because we got to go to court and, bad things are going to happen to them. One guy has young children, and I don't want anything bad to happen to them. So I'm really hoping that when we get to that situation, I'll be able to forgive them and maybe help them grow as people too. But, I realize I created the reality, and so I have no ill feelings towards them whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I feel kind of bad for them. But anyway, so, that's where I'm at with that. So just wanted to share that. You guys really helped me with that.
Cool.
But,
well, there's one thing that you said that I'm going to let you talk about, since I just talked for
No, you're fine.
No.
You're good.
And that is this thing that you just said about, and hopefully one day I'll be able to forgive them. So why don't you go into this notion of forgiveness and what really the understanding there is?
I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong about it. There's places where that's where we are. So we forgive, The thing is that if we're creating our own reality, there's certainly no need to forgive them. So the next question, well, maybe we should forgive ourselves.
right.
But then if we forgive ourselves, does it imply that we've done something wrong? Somehow that we made a mistake in our journey to evolve. When the better idea is this, that we trust every step that we've taken. One of my favorite tools is to gather up all my egos and basically have a little talk with all of them. And so, there's so many that I have to rent a stadium, so I get my podium there, my microphone, and got great sound equipment, and, all my fear egos and sabotage egos and martyr egos, all of them, are sitting there with bated breath, and basically I don't forgive them, and I don't forgive myself. I just thank them. I really just thank all of the events in my life that brought me to this moment.
Okay.
And so I send my appreciation to everything that brought me to this juncture. But now I can pack up this whole network of identities, and I can just put it in an archive. If I'm ever curious about my history, I can go back and see how I did it. But basically, I now just turn and walk out of the stadium and walk into my new life. I create a new type of residual self-image. My residual self-image believes that everything's going to be better than you could ever imagine. It doesn't do one thing doesn't get me, something else will. And so we can edit ourselves. We can reconstruct ourselves. We created it in the first place. We haven't done anything wrong, so there's nothing to forgive. It just, thank you, and now let's move on with the beauty that we've always been.
Right.
So that's a little bit my approach to it, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I pretty much have, I may have misspoke. I honestly don't have any ill feelings towards those gentlemen at all. And again, I'm not really blaming myself. I know I created it, and I haven't really gotten into that situation where I'm blaming myself or mad at myself. I've just looked at it as, well, it's part of my evolution, and I'm probably going to be working on myself the rest of my life. So, it's not bad. It just is. It just is.
Nice. Yeah. I will repeat myself. You have come so far, my dear.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Thank
Mm.
you.
Whoop, you're breaking up.
Exercise materials, and I practiced it faithfully for a long time, so I thank you for that.
Yay. Great. All right. Who else? We have time for somebody else, or we can keep talking. Maybe they want us to keep talking.
I don't know what's going on up there.
Well, unless
we could call on them.
Ooh.
Oh, that's it.
Ooh, that might have just brought up some electric fences. Oh no, don't call on me.
What do you say?
No, I'm not going to call on them.
We know there are people out there.
In trainings, we call on people. We don't call on people in free coaching.
Oh, never mind.
No. So,
I would say something about Jeffrey's, when he broke his arm.
Okay.
There was some earlier thought forms that, had to do with conspiracy theories that, things were really could really get you if you, yeah, I mean, you were standing up to authority. And anyway, it set in motion a juncture that was life-threatening, to the body. And you worked it out. You really did. I mean, you basically released it, but it instead of basically being a very severe accident, it was kind of a final release of this thought form that got created. It's a funny way to look at it, but that's how I would see it. It was an actual benefit to, instead of dying, you broke an arm. I put it that way.
Nice.
So good job. It was really good job, man.
Releasing a little pressure there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
You're all free of that now. So,
yay! Congratulations.
Yeah.
So let me do just a little bit of a recap here, just so when you guys leave today, you have, something really solid to walk away with. So the number one recap is that really the ultimate foundation for making this conscious evolutionary leap to a new stage of awareness, there is one number one key, and that is quieting the brain, accessing the mind. No thinking. We are stopping our thinking. And this is something that is, I'm still practicing. My brain is a very big chatterbox. I'm definitely admitting that. But what I've been starting to notice is that I can stop the brain more and more now and get into a quiet space. What works for me is to shift my attention inward to a listening mode. So rather than outputting, I listen. And, there's oftentimes a sound in my ears or something else going on in my body. And I am just listening with total curiosity. And what is happening for me is that by quieting the brain, it allows intuition to come in, or knowingness. All of a sudden, so they still come as words, but they're different. They're not from up here. They don't come in from the head. They actually, it's sort of a sensation of bubbling up from below. And I always know the difference, whether that was brain that created that or knowingness. And I can tell you it is the most amazing and delicious and expanding experience. We are so addicted to our thinking. We think the brain is, this mighty thing that will help us analyze things through and figure things out. And that is where we need to put all of our stock, when in fact, this is just artificial intelligence. It's here to help keep us alive. That's one of its primary functions until we wake up and can handle it ourselves. But it's the mind where the juice is, it's where the expansion is, it's where you, who you are becoming, resides. And so when you can quiet your brain, quiet, no thinking, that's when you allow that to come in. So that's number one key to making this conscious evolutionary leap to a new stage of awareness. So number two is we went over what creates your electric fence. What are the things that make up that electric fence? So Rennie talked all about egos and how they were created and why you created them and what they are. You know, many of us are built for understanding, meaning unless we know all the details of something, we can't quite make that next leap. So that's the reason we went into detail today about what that electric fence actually is, because that takes us to number three of what we did today, which is the 5 steps to get out of, to dissolve that electric fence. The notice, observe, analyze it, become Sherlock Holmes with it, name it, and then let it go with gratitude and appreciation.
I'll tell you, where everybody gets caught up to, I mean, we're on this journey, we want to check our egos. So we see an ego, and the first thing we do, so we notice, okay, we see it. The first thing we do is, oh my God, I got more ego. Right. There's my big ego. I just drew a principal card called Check Egos. Oh no, not that one. And so that just strengthens the egos, you know. So this point that Kurtz's making, you know, notice it, but you got to get over here and see it without judging it, without being hard on yourself. Get over this beating yourself up. You haven't done anything wrong. Just see who you are. That's all. And then now you can edit and you can fix it and you can do whatever you want. But as long as you are just, oh my God, you know, it's just, you know, we find that understanding, for a lot of us, really are built for understanding. Not everybody is, but a lot of people are. And so I'll just kind of finish up myself by saying a little bit about judgment, blame, and pointing the finger. You know, when you basically judge another person for not doing it right, even though you have no idea the thousands of reasons that led them to do what they're doing, you know, you basically, it registers in your own body chemistry. So every judgment that you make of another person, you know, your awareness, that's one species, your body is another species. You can tell this because at death, the body does lay down and the awareness goes on. So every time you judge someone else, it registers like your awareness is judging your own body, and it affects your body chemistry. So when you get angry at somebody, it really, there are adrenal glands. They sit on top of the 2 kidneys. The outer cortex secretes a dark yellow hormone. And yellow hormone goes right into the bloodstream. What is this doing to you? I mean, you're just upset with somebody else. What's going on with you, you know? Oh my God, you know, I mean, it makes your cell walls go mushy, you know, so you just accelerate your aging process. Your skeleton dries out, so it becomes more brittle. I mean, why in the world would you want to beat yourself up like this, you know? And you do it because you don't understand, that's all. So understanding the effects of your thoughts when you get upset with someone else on what it's doing to you, we found that it is really helpful to many people to just stop it. You know, just come to grips with what you're doing here. You know, let's step into our beauty. Let's step into our appreciation and gratitude. You know, let's really feel the magnificence that we've always been. And now we're on a journey to the ultimate goal of this work, which is to actually connect to the authentic self that you've always been. There's an intelligent being that has been with you since the beginning of your existence. And you can become that being. You can become your authentic self, but you have to choose it. And how we do that, we'll save that for another time.
Nice. Oop. So I want to invite you for a moment to a little journey. So I invite you to actually close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to see in front of you a field of possibilities right now. Just this beautiful field. And it's a field of possibilities. And just step onto that field of possibilities. It's the field of possibilities of you completely having dissolved your electric fence. All egos, all negative egos are gone. All positive egos are in service to your journey to evolve. You are calm-centered in all situations. Your perception is on the default setting that no matter what comes in front of you, it's going to be better than you could ever imagine. You are fully empowered, knowing that everything you're experiencing, you created, that it is absolutely in perfection what you created. You chose it for your own evolutionary journey, and how amazing is that? You are filled with appreciation and gratitude for life. Your passion, the fire, the quiet fire inside you is burning, and it's fueling your life, and you're living the life you came here to live, full of purpose, full of life, full of passion, full of joy. That's the field of possibilities. That's the invitation for you to step onto that field of possibilities right now. So just take a moment and feel what that would feel like, what that can feel like. No fear, no worry, no anxiety, no stress, no judgment, no not good enough. All of it gone, dissolved, leaving a completely expanded space within yourself to fill with whoever you choose to become. And now I want you to expand the field of possibilities. Just widen it a little bit more and look around you. And on that field of possibilities, you're seeing others on this journey to evolve right next to you. Everybody is working on dissolving their electric fences. Everybody's working on seeing their egos and letting them go and claiming their own personality seat, claiming their journey to their authentic self. You're in your global new humanity tribe, and you know with every fiber of your being that you belong here. You finally have found your tribe, your family, those who you decided to walk this journey with. It's not a religion, it's not a cult, it's not any belief system, it's just individual human beings on a journey to evolve together, championing each other, cheering each other on in the most amazing way. And it lifts your heart to be within this group of people. You belong there. And now expand just a little bit further this field of possibilities. You and your new humanity tribe are standing together on this field of possibilities. And now each person in their passion, their purpose gets to express and help bring their creativity to designing the world we want to actually live in, a world where the air is clean, the waters are clean, all the animals are respected, the earth is respected. The way we build our environment is with the earth in mind, is with life in mind. Everything that we do and how we express and how we create is a completely new way of living on earth. A way of living on earth that's coming from a different stage of awareness. Einstein once said that we cannot solve our problems from the same level of thinking that we were in when we created those problems. We say we cannot solve our problems from the same level of state of awareness we were in when we created those problems. We are making a conscious evolutionary leap to a new stage of awareness, and from that place we get to create what we're calling a new nation on earth, created by the new humanity. Feel that field of possibilities. And notice if your bullshit meter went up, your cynic went up, your that's never gonna happen. Notice that those are egos too. Just see them, let them go, and just be an open curiosity and innocence. What if this was actually possible? What if we could come together in the largest movement in human history to change the world? We like to say together unstoppable. If you want, you can open your eyes again or stay within your space right now. So what Rennie and I would like to invite you to is we are putting together a new humanity global gathering at the end of September, September 21st and 22nd. The new humanity is actually coming together to ignite this field of possibilities. It's going to be here in Broomfield, Colorado, in person. It's going to be a 2-day event, and it's going to be freaking awesome. It is going to be a vortex of possibilities. And we're going to be talking about basically these 3 things. We're going to address the foundation, which is these life principles that are going to be the foundation of the new humanity to make this leap to a new stage of awareness. We're going to be talking about that. Then in the afternoon, we're going to actually play with what would a world look like created from that place of awareness. What would a world look like from that new stage of awareness? And on day 2, we're going to take it down a very specific path for a specific group of people that came here in this time of the earth to support the earth. Do you want to speak just a little bit to day 2?
Yeah, so this is, we say this is information new to the world. Maybe this is an exception. Some of this information, anyway, on day 2 did exist, but you have to go way back. You know, before agriculture, when human beings migrated, there were a handful of people who understood the earth was self-aware, who understood they could move a tornado with their mind, who just were the absolute delight of the earth herself, and who basically saw their agenda as supporting the earth agenda, and were good at it. And so the know-how from this ancient time, which disappeared, is now returned. And so this is what's being presented in day 2. How do you talk to the earth? How do you talk to plants? How do you activate your feeling body? What is the language of the universe? What is the language of feeling? How do you translate it into actually talking to a tree and getting real information back? How do you do that exactly? You know, so how do you step into an earth whisper state of being? So this will be really for all of us brand new, exciting, you know, very beautiful. I mean, if you understand or sense that the issue facing the human race is really the earth is now rebalancing, and all these things that we're seeing that seem so threatening to the human species, actually is an enormous moment. It's the defining moment for this generation. The fires, the floods, the earthquakes, the tornadoes, the volcanic activity. Let's hear from the earth herself about this perspective, and just put it into another way of understanding. So rather than feeling scary, we realize that we can pioneer the human race actually returning to align with the intelligence of nature. So this will be the second day, the Earth Whisper Awakens.
So, when we originally were talking about this 2-day event, and we're looking at, what should we charge for this? I mean, the 2 days are going to be so massively packed. We were looking at around, $800, and I'm like, no, I want that room filled. I want people there. So we have dropped the price of day one. It's at the moment at the early bird price of $97, and day two is, I believe, at $147. I forgot to write it down. But then there's a bundle price as well. So if you actually come and register right now, you're going to get it for an amazing, amazing price, because we want the new humanity to come to be with us in this field of possibilities. We want to, it's time, folks. It's time for us to step up. It's time to pass those electric fences and just start coming together in that unstoppable force. And the best way to do that is to be in person with each other. So let's just take 2 days where we can start this movement. I mean, the movement is already there underneath, but let's bring it to the surface and let's light the fire of this movement. Let's come together and let's make together this conscious evolutionary leap. So where you find the registration page, I'm going to put it in the chat here, but it's www.ffh, which stands for foundationforhumanity.org, and then /New Humanity 2018. So ffh.org /New Humanity 2018. That's where you can find all the information. And if you want to have a little chat with us, at the bottom of that page, there is a way to schedule a call with us if you wanted to talk about it. But, if you can feel that you belong to the new humanity and that you want to be part of this movement, we strongly, strongly urge you to show up on the 21st and the 22nd, because it's going to be powerful. I promise you. I said in the beginning, what if all that you need to make this next leap actually is finally here right now, and you can actually step into the life you came here to live? What if that was right here? Don't let that pass you by. Please come join us. It's time to call the new humanity to action, to the bat. So there you have it. So with that, we are going to complete our call today. Thank you so much for being here. I had a blast. Did you have a blast?
I had a good time. Yeah,
okay.
It was really good.
Okay.
Especially talking to Jeffrey.
Yeah, great to see you and see everybody who was here. So have a fabulous, magnificent, better than you could possibly ever imagine remainder of the week. Try that, practice it, and give it a try. Give it a try for the next month. And do the 5-step process to start dissolving your electric fence. Give it a try. Let us know how it goes. And we'll hopefully see you in September. So with that, we're signing off. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.